What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Heel Hookers podcast, episode 123. This is the week I have been waiting for, for so long, and it has nothing to do with fights. A little bit to do with fights, but I could really care less about them. It's all about the venue, the Sphere. Viva Las Vegas, right?
Woo.
Whoa, yeah!
It's so funny how excited you've been for it. Because,
Yeah.
you really don't care about the fights. You do, of course.
Yeah.
But, you're like, but the venue, what's it going to look like? What's the production value going to be?
It is going to be very interesting. Just knowing the UFC, their production value just not being up to snuff usually.
Yeah.
It is kind of disappointing that it's like them doing it. Because I definitely would love to see like a one championship or bro, imagine a fucking KSW from the Sphere.
Yeah.
Holy fuck!
Because that's really is the thing, is because that's the criticism on the UFC for so long, is that their production is very bland. They don't put any effort into it. They don't care. This one, they actually care about. They're putting so much effort into. Dana White won't stop talking about how he's fucking put $20 million into the Sphere for production. Do you think the total fighter pay ends up being $20 million for this event?
No.
I mean, totally.
Absolutely not. They literally have... So they have the two championship fights happening, obviously. So both of those have ranked fighters. They have Brian, the featured bout, that has ranked fighters. Mm-hmm. And then there's one other fight. It's like...
I wouldn't be surprised if they're probably paying out like 10 mil or some shit.
Yeah, a couple mil's definitely going out for sure. Yeah. But 20 million?
Yeah, but
not on this
total,
card, not with these names.
No,
because Grasso Shevchenko 3, I don't think that's that big of a pay-per-view draw.
No.
And O'Malley Merab, I also feel like is not that big of a pay-per-view draw either.
That's
literally last time we saw O'Malley, the last pay-per-view we saw O'Malley on, they stacked the fuck out.
Yeah. And there's been so much criticism to the actual depth of this pay-per-view and people just, not liking it. So it's this is, I don't think that this probably clears, 500,000 pay-per-view buys.
No, because it's the other thing that's been going on. It is no fucking secret, but the more they increase the price, the more people are not going to pay for these pay-per-views. It's this has been an issue for years, and they've upped it again, It's unless somebody truly cares about, the production the way you do, and it's I want to see what this is going to be like, and they don't want interruptions, and they want a clear picture, they're not paying for the shit. Yeah. If they just want to watch the fights, they're just there to enjoy the fights, they're not buying this. It's not going to do much in pay-per-view sales.
Yeah, I don't think the Sphere is going to translate to pay-per-view. Very unlikely. We'll see how all that plays out.
Unlikely.
It's we don't get pay-per-view numbers anymore either way that are legit or anything.
Yeah, because they're embarrassing.
Yeah.
Kinda. It's just one of those things. And
it's also competition.
Also, to be fair to this pay-per-view, in all actuality, this isn't comparatively to a lot of the pay-per-views that we've had this year, this isn't the worst. It's obviously not the best, but it's not the bottom of the barrel.
No, it's not bad.
But I definitely think it's more in that mid-range, though.
No, yeah, it's not as bad as Canada. It's not as bad as Brazil.
301,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not 300. It's not 299. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's they kind of used all their fighters for a couple events this year. So. It is what it is.
But yeah, so UFC, the Sphere. We also do have a Bellator event, which we will give a quick little mention to, because there's a couple things that are worth mentioning. One, it was supposed to be headlined by Johnny Eblen rematching Fabian Edwards. I didn't really understand the rematch at all. It's they fought, Johnny Eblen won, PFL acquired Bellator, and then they were let's put Fabian Edwards into a number one contenders fight.
Yep.
So, okay, whatever, you know what I mean? But either way, that got canceled, not happening. So Leah McCourt versus Sarah Collins got upgraded to the main event. Don't really care too much about that, honestly.
No.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you. But there are a few good fights on this card that are worth mentioning. The one that I really care about the most, for sure, is Archie Colgan, 155 pounds, undefeated fighter in Bellator. He does train with Justin Gaethje, so definitely just a good camp, coming from there. taking on, I do not know how to pronounce this man's first name.
Manuel, I'm gonna assume.
Yeah, probably Manuel Santos or Souza. Sorry. I don't know anything about him other than just going through his Topology record. He is 11-0, has one decision win, and he is the person that took the O off of Mauricio Rufy, who got his win in the UFC over Jamie Malarkey and got so much hype on him with that win coming out of the Fighting Nerds. So 10-0 versus 11-0, 155 pounds. I feel like this is going to be a pretty solid fight.
Yeah, for sure.
No, yeah. His last win is over Tim Wilde, who is also on this card.
Yes. Which, if you want, I know that this is the fight that you are more interested in, Ginger, if you want to go into that one, since it is,
No, yeah, and the biggest reason is mainly because of Tim Wilde's opponent, it being, Mark DeCasey, this being his first fight outside of the UFC and UFC branding that we're going to see, so I'm just very interested to see what he does in the PFL. I don't expect him to, go on this huge title run.
Yeah.
There is going to be more stiff competition at 55. There are definitely fighters he can fight and lose to at 55. But I think it's just really interesting to see where he's at after being in the UFC for almost 17 fights. He was 16 fights.
15 fights in the UFC.
15 fights.
And still only 31 years old as well. So
he's still on the younger side.
Yeah. I say extremely young, but for someone with that many fights in the UFC getting cut, you know what I mean? It's they're not often 31 years old. They're usually over 35 when that happens or something. But yeah, it's if he can go on a run, get himself a title shot, who knows? He does have a very solid game. Maybe going in to Bellator competition, not the UFC competition, might get to see more of his exciting dynamic striking compared to just a D3 wrestler DeCasey, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is kind of the thing. That's why I'm really interested, because he's definitely fighting down in competition at this point, coming from the UFC into Bellator.
Yeah.
For the when it comes to fighting the unranked guys anyway.
Yeah.
And that's why I find really interesting. Maybe he can carve himself out like a Benson Henderson niche, where he's one of the top guys, but he's never really the top guy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So. I mean, that's entirely possible. He has the skill set to do that.
I'm pretty sure Benson grabbed himself a Bellator title, didn't he?
I know he fought for when he came over, he fought for the welterweight title. Didn't get it. Fought for the lightweight title. I don't think he ever got it. He might have, but off the top of my head, I don't think he ever did.
But yeah, either way though, yeah, just be one of the top guys in another top promotion. You know what I mean? That's just I'm sure he's probably got a pretty solid contract coming over to Bellator. Having just the UFC name. So just hopefully he does good for himself, get some good money, and maybe grab a title while he's at it. But Kate, I know that there was a fight that you were interested in. What you got for this one? What you want to say about it?
Yeah, it's the opening fight. It's women's featherweights. Iman Almadhaf and Diane Silva, I'm going to assume. They're both undefeated. Iman 4-0 with 4 finishes. Silva 3-0 with 2 finishes, so it should be fun. But I just think it's cool that, Iman coming in, she is clearly a Muslim woman who wears her hijab and everything. Never seen that before in any combat sports at all. So I just think it's cool and could possibly open up a pathway for more Muslim women to be oh, we can do that,
No, yeah. It's definitely awesome. It's definitely hard with being at 145, just
for her specifically, but that's why it's just just kind of that gateway,
For sure. And I don't know, it's also one of those things where we talked about where it's 145 isn't a stacked division because it's never been given the life or opportunity to have any sort of growth or anything like that. PFL Bellator actually letting women fight at 145 pounds, 155 pounds, whatever. That is going to start to open up doors for all these women that are athletes but are just on the heavier side compared to fucking trying to cut down maybe 15 pounds to make 135 or something,
right.
So just also being at 145 pounds, just an up-and-coming fighter. I don't know
it doesn't have any stats on her at all. It's 5'11" though.
Fucking big.
But it's she gets a couple wins in Bellator. It's what if we end up seeing her versus Pacheco at some point,
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, it's possible. I mean...
Undefeated fighter, all finishes at featherweight. If she keeps winning, I would not be surprised at all if that's where they look to do... You know what I mean?
I was about to say, her versus Cyborg. There are a couple ways that can go.
With Larissa versus Cyborg happening this year, like, assuming Larissa gets it done, I don't think Cyborg hangs around in the PFO.
No, but that's what I'm saying, though. Like, potential, but still potentially there, just depending on how things go. For sure. Also, I went to go look, and Benson never won the Bellator title,
gotcha.
But apparently he's making his boxing debut on September 14th against Chris Avila.
Very nice. Hopefully you guess that then.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, so definitely hope that Aman is able to get that win. That'd be very nice. And yeah, hopefully it's just a good fun fight, gets a good finish. But let's go. Other than that, Bellator is like it's just so funny, especially an event like this where them starting the year being like 2 title fights every single card.
Yeah.
First event didn't have 2 title fights. And then they only had 1 book for this. Falls out. So actually no title fights on this card. Very nice. And it's
Bellator's Bellatorin.
It's also funny because
Bellator's PFLing. That's really what's...
Yeah.
This ain't even Bellator. Bellator was so much better than this. It's crazy.
There are 8 undefeated fighters on this card. 4 of them are fighting each other.
Yep.
That is pretty crazy. So,
sorry, 6 of them.
Yeah. So
a lot of O's are going to go.
Some good prospects, at least, out of this card.
No, yeah.
Well, let's go. That's a nice, good little mention to Bellator this weekend. But the main thing we're really all here for is Noche UFC, presented by Riyadh Season at the Sphere.
Riyadh Season.
It's
Noche UFC present. It's like Noche. It's like Riyadh Season presents Noche UFC.
Yeah, headlined by an American and a Georgian from the country.
It's fine because Merab is accepted.
Yeah, but it's still just funny, It's so very UFC to be like, this is a fucking love letter to Mexico and like all this, and it's just...
I mean, at least they're gonna do it like, to what Dana said, they're gonna do it with the Sphere and stuff, because it's like, I've said it so many times that I would rather them put big fights and fights that make sense and work on right timelines in places that maybe aren't regional to them.
Yeah.
Than just sit there and be like, oh, well, you belong here, so let's get you on this card. And then the card is like, okay, like you have a bunch of these fighters, but it sucks.
No, for sure.
No, yeah.
But yeah, with the Sphere, it's like, I've been so excited for it. I can't wait to see what they do. You know what I mean? And as we're getting closer, we've been getting the little drops and the little hints of information and all that's going on. So the one thing that I do think is really cool, and I just can't wait to see what they do with it, is so they plan on basically telling a story before every fight, and then that story is going to go into an act, which is going to be whichever fight on the card. Those fighters are going to have specific fight gear for that fight designed with like all of that. So it's like the progression throughout the night and just, you know what I mean? Whatever that's going to be, it's just like, I cannot wait to see what that is. It's like, being a fucking ignorant white person from America, it's like, I ain't got no idea what sort of information I might learn. You know what I mean? But like, it's just like, I don't know. I'm just extremely interested to see what they do. And it's just at the Sphere. It's like, there has been nothing but praise from anyone that has gone there to see it, and you know what I mean? So
yeah,
that should be definitely very interesting. And then there's also like Dana White saying that they're trying to make it seem like, so the people watching at home, it feels like you're in the arena, with the Sphere and everything too. Which that's the one thing that I'm a little nervous about, because it's like, how are they gonna make it feel like you're in the arena with the Sphere without taking away from like the center being the fight going on?
So I mean, I don't know if they would do this, but with you saying that, they're going to be telling whatever story and then it's going to go into the act, which is the fight, I wonder if they're going to cut out a lot of commercial time so that they can just show us like what's going on the screen, so that like we're a part of that story and then it just goes into the fights,
Maybe. I don't know.
God, I hope. I can hope that.
That just seems so unlikely.
I know it does, but that's the only thing that I could really imagine. I
just really have all the commercial breaks in that, in between each round, and then like in between fights, like before they do like the actual, just cut him down a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna get that done.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, and I wonder if with them saying that, if they do mean with like whatever things they're showing, you know, and like not actually during the fight, because that, like, yeah, when they said that, that's like in my head what my brain went to. It's like, all right, like you're gonna make the sphere still like a visual thing while the fight is going on. It's like you have to be at an angle that's like taking away from what you're usually getting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. There's gonna be so much to it. Can't fucking wait.
Turns out we're not gonna hear any of the stories.
Bro, I would be so upset.
I would kind of prepare for that a little bit. Potentially.
Well, at least on the pay-per-view, we know that it won't be a problem. So, like, they don't be going to commercial breaks and shit like that. So yeah. See how all of that plays out with the Sphere itself. But aside from the venue, we got some motherfucking fights, too.
Yep.
The Bantamweight champ is here to defend his title once more. Motherfucking Sugar Sean O'Malley taking on Merab Dvalishvili, the number one contender, the fight that should have happened instead of Sean versus Cheeto.
Yep.
From the start, I thought that Sean was going to win. And as it's gotten closer, and just everything with Merab, it's like, I don't know, man. It's like, is Merab going to get it done? Do you guys got faith in that? Or is Sean going to put on a highlight reel knockout and look to go for a boxing fight after this?
I'm not going to lie. As it's gotten closer, I've gotten more and more in the fact of O'Malley's just going to win. His timing, his precision, the fact that Merab keeps getting rocked by the same left fucking hook, and fucking Sean O'Malley just being the sniper that he is. He gets that one shot there. If he can just land a straight right hand down the middle, it's fucking over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just see that happening. He's got way too much movement. He knows how to cut angles.
Yeah.
And we've seen him defend takedowns against Piotr Jan and Aljamain Sterling.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to matter for what Merab does, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know if
No, it's really that, because it's like even leading up to it, I always said if Merab could execute his game plan and just be the machine he is against Sean, then it could be interesting. Like, damn, how does Sean handle that? You know what I mean? What does he look like in later rounds if Merab is just like, you know, ragdolling him and isn't able to get a hold of him?
Yeah.
But I never really gave him the highest chance to actually let that happen. You know, like I love Merab, but to every point Ginger just said, Sean is a sniper and Merab could get rocked. So.
Yeah. Because it's like you said, he's very vulnerable. He can get hurt. He has been finished before. Like, this isn't, you know, like anything new. But against so many fighters, it's the fact that he just does so much and doesn't care. It's like he's just constantly putting stuff together on the feet, constantly putting punches together that are going to push you back, and he's going to shoot on a takedown. He takes you down, you get back up, he's going to be right back on it. You know what I mean? It's just nonstop pressure. And it's just like, I'm just not sure if he's going to be able to walk into the much taller, much longer Sean O'Malley that if his entire style, it's like he's extremely active, but he's also a counter fighter. Like, I feel like a lot of people, you know, like miss that because of like how active and how much he throws in, like, especially watching certain highlights of like him just putting a lot of pressure and like, you know, putting a lot of volume on his opponents. But it's like he's looking to make you do something to make that mistake so he can one-shot you if that's the opportunity. And Merab's striking is so goddamn basic, and it, and that's why it's just hard too. I'm sorry, go.
Yeah, it's not even just all like what you're saying. Like, we have seen, like, especially like in the Piotr Jan fight and a little bit in the what fight was it? Even against like other fighters, he is not afraid to sit down and fight in the pocket. He like doesn't do it extremely often, but if he needs to, he will sit down in the pocket and he will swing.
Sean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, he's not afraid to just sit in the pocket for a second, be like, all right, fine, here's this 5-piece combo that you're not going to see because I'm so much fucking faster than you. He's got great head movement. And like you just said, Merab has very basic striking, and he has a lot of striking that's just like very much like just swinging lefts and rights. Just O'Malley's just gonna encounter him. Like I don't see Merab being able to win just because I don't think he's gonna be able to execute the way he wants to.
Yeah, it's extremely fair. And with all that said, Merab is on an extremely good win streak for a reason. Mm-hmm. He has beaten so many legendary fighters for a reason. Yes. Because it's all of those things where so many of these people he's going up against, they are technically better in, like, you know, the striking. They have better just whatever variables to their game that you would think they can, like, they just have to land that shot and then they're going to win, you know? But Merab is able to just be the machine that he is. He gets hurt, but he comes right back. That's like his recovery ability is fucking insane. And that is a key thing with just his cardio. Like that is like I don't know how much that's like an actual scientific fact, but that just seems to be like the kind of MMA science of like you got really good cardio, you get hurt and you bounce back like that. And it's just one of those things where so many people where I was so confident that it's like they have like they're just gonna win, everything is there for them to win, they end up losing because of just whatever those few things, you know what I mean, from the other fighter. And it's like, yeah, I think that Sean O'Malley is gonna probably walk through Merab with no problem, but I would not be surprised if we're fucking sitting here Sunday next week and it's just like, well, Merab was able to just fucking grab his ankle and just drag him across the cage for 25 minutes, and that was that. I guess
that would
we
be
should have
crazy.
seen that coming. Like,
it'd be insane.
Because
it'd be a lot like how fucking Bilal did fucking Leon. That's the only way I can see him winning is essentially doing that same thing. But like O'Malley has to then be like very inactive, and that's just not how O'Malley fights.
And that's the thing, because with like the, you know, calling him a sniper, he is that, but he also has so much volume behind it, where Leon is like tries to fight like an actual sniper of just wait, one shot. You know what I mean? He doesn't have the volume. So the game plan of Bilal, it was absolutely perfect. That's where it's like, with Merab, it's like, bro, if he's like tries to be like Bilal with that and just like go right in front of Sean O'Malley, like trying to grab at his hands and just be right in range, throwing punches, dude's probably getting knocked out in 30 seconds. You know what I would not be surprised at all. But no,
100%. That's kind of just the thing with it. It's just like that's the only way I can see him winning. But like it would require O'Malley to like, I could see it happening if like O'Malley like breaks his hand first round, and now he's like has more of an inactive hand where he can't, switch stance, jab with it, goes back to orthodox and can't really throw a straight or a hook with it without being in a lot of pain. Then it's like, okay, he's now going to be a lot less active with one of his hands. Makes it easier to get in on him.
That's so circumstantial.
It is circumstantial, but that's what I'm saying. Like for his activity to drop, it has to be something like that. Like,
no, for sure.
He's not just going to drop his activity for no reason.
Exactly, and it's like even with that, I don't even think that it's like going to drop it even that significantly, because it's like dude's dynamic as a motherfucker. He hurts his hands, you're going to be seeing the fucking leg kicks, teeps, and fucking head kicks like crazy. You know what I mean?
And I mean, he'll probably just pull out a Uriah Faber to really just start throwing those elbows with that hand.
Yeah, stepping elbows, just like his game in the striking is infinitely more diverse than what Merab is ever gonna bring to the table. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. And even if he's like not using like the leg kick, but like you said, he's gonna be using teeps, he's gonna be using front leg side kicks, he's gonna be using spinning back kicks. Like he will just at that point just be like, no, I'm just gonna keep you at fucking distance, and I'm not gonna let you even get close to me.
So excited. It's gonna be so hyped. It's the right fight to make right now. The only fight at 135 pounds for the title. Those main event feels going into it are going to be insane. Let's fucking go, man.
I have one more question.
Yes.
Does Merab survive that knee that Marlon Vera?
No.
Nobody does.
Nobody else does.
Nah. Like that.
I just need to ask.
Yeah, no. That.
Not a single person is standing after that.
That is such a disgusting strike that was landed. You know what I mean? And for even Cheeto to just be like, yeah, that wasn't even the most damaging strike that landed on me. Like that, it's just
that's the insane part. Like Cheeto.
Different animal. Merab is the machine. Cheeto's an animal. You know, it's entirely different. Like it. Oh man. But let's go. Great fight. Extremely excited. Going on down to the next title fight on the card. 125 pounds in the female division. We all know what it is. We've been waiting so motherfucking long. Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko 3.
Mm-hmm.
After an entire year of waiting for this fight, finally at Fight Week, how are you guys feeling about this fight?
Wrap it up. Let's just get to this fight so we can have the division move on. I don't care if it's Grasso, because the thing is, both fights so far have been extremely close.
Yes.
Like, Shevchenko got finished in the first one via rear naked choke. But up to that point, a lot of people had it either 2-2, 1-3 one way, 1-3 the other way. And it was, because it was the fourth round. Was it the fourth or fifth?
It was the fourth round that she got it. And
Grasso that round was looking...
Grasso won round 1 easily, but then Valentina was taking over 2-3 and was winning 4
until the spinning. The one mistake she made, which they trained for, was that spinning kick. Was able to get in on it, take her down. It was a perfect way to do it.
And then the second fight, Valentina's I ain't throwing that shit.
Draw. Went to a draw.
Yeah.
This fight has
undeserved draw
so
too,
close.
because that was the thing about the second fight, which makes it even more shitty, is because after the 5 rounds, I thought Alexa Grasso won. I forget the exact rounds of scoring and all of that, but with the I thought she won 3 rounds, no problem. But with what the judges put in
with the 5th round at 10-8.
Yeah, the 5th round should not have been at 10-8 on the one judge scorecard, and if it wasn't, Valentina would have gotten the decision.
Yeah.
So with that's where it just makes it so hard, because it's I thought she won. It should have just been over and moving on. But it was a bullshit draw that Valentina really should have won, and it should have been a more deserving trilogy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I also remember me having Valentina winning the fight. Yeah. I was saying it was razor thin, but I had Valentina winning the fight, and then went to the draw, and it's okay, let's just... And then they, did the season of Tough and just dragged this out.
Yeah. And that's where it's even worse, too, because usually they have, the season of Tough, and it'll end, and then it's, the fight.
Yeah.
We had the season Tough, and then it ended, and now it's just time in between, over a month. I don't even remember when it ended, but you know what I mean. It's just, I don't know. It's annoying. It's definitely frustrating,
but it's almost over.
Yeah.
Yes.
And with all of that, though, I feel like it shouldn't be lost that this is going to be a very good fight, and Valentina, she is saying that she wants to go for a finish in this one. She ain't leaving it to the judges. No bullshit. She knows that, she's coming towards the end of her career. She wants this one back. Alexa Grasso with this entire event, it's I know she's the co-main event, not the actual last fight, but in terms of Noche UFC, she's the last fight. It's, you know what I mean? That caps off with her. I feel like she's going to have so much motivation to get it done in a much better fashion, probably go for a finish again herself. This is going to be a great fight, and I'm very excited for it. I had so much time of being let's wrap it up, but now, finally here, I am very excited to see how this one plays out.
Actually, I'm not talk because I just realized we've been talking this whole time.
Oh, no, you're good. That was the...
No, I was going to let Katie talk, because she hasn't said... I don't think she's really said anything yet.
No, because, it's really all being said. I don't feel any different way. It's just... I know it will be a good fight, but I am glad for it to just get wrapped up. The only thing is, I just super fucking hope that if Valentina wins, they don't go to the the quadrilogy.
The quadrilogy.
Because the thing... Alexa doesn't deserve it, respectfully.
No,
you know what I mean? She's not a long-reigning champ, so, I really hope that with that, they won't go back to it. She's 31 years old. She can easily find herself in another title fight after 2 fucking wins. You know what I mean?
If this is fight of the year candidate type shit, they might. There's a good chance.
It would have to be that type of fight, though. I'm not sure if it will be fight of the year candidate.
I don't think so.
I think it'll be a really good fight, but I don't think it's going to be up to that level.
No. But they have to.
But also at the same time, it's they keep going back to France. You got Manon Ferro. You just have Rose, who's been rising in the division. You have too many people who are starting to really rise in the division and really should be getting title shots that aren't getting it because you held this off for a year.
I feel like if they put on Fight of the Year contender, where it's like Dana is as hyped about that as like Figgy Moreno and like that series of fighting, they're going to the quadrilogy, and they're probably just gonna be like, well, Manon, you have to fight Natalia Silva. And then they're probably going to go to, like, Rose and Macy if Rose wins or something. You know what I mean? Like,
No, exactly. It's like just...
Yeah, they will absolutely fuck Manon. They will give Natalia the boost to be the next one there. And then they'll just be like, well, Rose, big fight.
No, 100%. Like, I'm not...
Oh, my God, that's going to be...
I'm just hoping it doesn't happen because I want this division to move on. I don't want this to become
we need it too. Like you said, there's so many people that are right here. Like,
we don't need this to become what middleweight has been for a while, which is just completely log-jammed at the top.
Yeah.
No one getting fight for the championship. Like, we just need it to just move.
Speaking of moving on, we're moving on to the featured bout because this is going to be an amazing fight.
This is my favorite fight.
I am so excited for this. Brian Ortega, he's doing the right thing like he said he was. He felt real bad about the whole situation of missing weight, pulling out of the fight with Diego Lopes. So they're re-getting it done at the Sphere. Let's fucking go. Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopes. Kate, I know how excited you are for this one. Tell us how excited you are.
Bruh, it's going to be so good. I really hope that Diego Lopes can get it done. Obviously, Brian Ortega is great on the ground. He can get touched up, though, so it's just, I don't know how this is going to go, and I just think it's going to be a great fight no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, because even though Ortega's, like, good on the ground, like, he'll stand up and strike with you, and Diego's going to sit there and strike with you, and that's going to be a lot of fun. But it's like, if Ortega gets dropped and Diego goes to the ground with him, what do those scrambles look like? Is Brian able to get a sub? Is Diego able to get a sub? Both of them with a lot of submission wins on their record. Yeah. Neither of them have been subbed though.
Yeah.
They're real scrambly. They're real slick. Like, it's just going to be so exciting. But I just wonder if either of them are going to go there. If it's going to be one of those things where it's like, if you have two guys that are good at jiu-jitsu and they're like, we're going to keep it standing. We just saw it with fucking Brady and Gilbert, you know?
Well, and that's the thing. Like, they were also defending the takedowns really well. But that's the thing. Like, out of everything that Brian Ortega has, the absolute worst thing I think he has is his takedowns.
Yes. Yeah, 100%.
His striking is all right. Like, it's very passable striking, especially for a jiu-jitsu grappler type of guy. His takedowns are not good at all.
No.
Diego is not getting taken down at all in this fight. If anything, I could see... Like, the only way that I see him going down is if he thinks he's getting a dart or he thinks he's getting a guillotine. He thinks he's going to get a ninja. Like, something like that, where, physically you're going to have to go down to be able to finish it, for the most part. Because you're going to have to follow the opponent. But... outside of that, I think Diego's going to keep it standing, and he's going to light Ortega up. That just is what it is, in my opinion. I just think, even though Ortega has, like, passable striking, Diego has power and very, very good striking.
No, yeah.
His boxing is on another level compared to Ortega.
See, look... I don't... They're both good, like, with their striking, they're both best with their boxing. But it's very different because Diego is fucking just a monster going at you, fucking just one shot can put you out. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But Ortega has slick striking. You know, like it's like he doesn't have the greatest defense all the time, but he's got really good counters and he does have like really solid hands. It's like
it's just he doesn't have that same power behind him. He's not really out here getting knockouts like that, but it's like that's where Diego comes in, where it's like, he has 12 submission wins, but he has 10 knockout wins as well, you know?
I know, and that's where it's hard too, because it's like, seeing Ortega get dropped by Yair in his last fight, it's like instantly, with all that, it's like Diego's knocking him out, but it's like this dude doesn't really, it's not like he's out here just getting fucking TKO'd and finished, you know what I mean?
Like, but it's just like one of those things where it is that accumulation of damage. He went to that 4-round historic beatdown against Holloway, got beat down by Volkanovski again, gets dropped by Yair. It's like, and even then, like, he was getting touched a little bit against Korean Zombie before, even though he won that decision. It's it's that accumulation of damage. Just like, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? It's potentially going to be this one, because I think Diego has the most. Because Diego, I think, has the most power out of everyone he's,
that's
of all the names. I definitely named.
That's what I was just gonna say with all of that, is that it's like Max Holloway, he is high volume. He can obviously get the finishes, but a lot of it is, like you said, accumulative. Volkanovski, he will beat the shit out of people, but he goes to a lot of decisions, like, can he get the finish? Yes, but he has more decisions.
Yeah, he's got good, like, he's definitely more of a power puncher than Max for sure, but it's one of those things where it's like he's like very technical, so he's not always gonna sit down,
No, yeah, and like it's more so like in the UFC, like I said, like obviously he has his finishes, like he's gotten plenty of knockouts, like he can do it for sure, but like we've also just seen him go to more decisions. But it's like watching Diego in his fights that he has been in since being in the UFC, the only decision he went to was with Dan Ige, who is unfinishable, and then Movzar, like that short notice where it was just crazy, like...
I was about to say, Dan Ige was short notice against a completely different fighter than who he was going to be fighting in, Brian Ortega.
For sure, but Dan Ige is just like, he's never been finished.
No, he is unfinished. No, yeah,
like, he has 8 losses, 8 decision losses. Like, it's
eventually, like, it's like, when is that shoe going to drop as well? But, like, he doesn't take nearly as much damage, if I remember right, as Ortega has in his last, 5?
Yeah, he does take, decent, amount of shots and stuff, but it's like Ortega's just been in some historic beatdowns, kind of, you know what I mean? Like,
no, yeah, the Holloway and the Volk fight specifically, And I mean, before that, just looking at it, it's like, I think the person who's the biggest knockout artist he's fought so far is Jair, because it's Jair, Volk, Korean Zombie, Holloway, and then it goes to Frankie Edgar, Cub Swanson, Renato Moicano, Clay Guida. None of these guys have power like Diego.
And it's just funny because even with Yair, his knockouts are head kicks, elbows, flying knees. Like,
he ain't punching motherfuckers.
Yeah, he ain't just uppercutting somebody that's never been knocked out and dropping them to the floor.
And
that's what I mean. So I just that's what I'm kind of looking at.
Yeah, in my head, it's like, with all the things you said, Ginger, of the accumulation of damage for Ortega, this could easily be the time where Diego just goes out there, one-shots him, and he's just done. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, his chin might be gone. But if it's not, and he's able to, not get caught real bad and, hang in there with the striking, this is going to be a wild fucking fight.
And this,
holy shit.
This is why I'm so interested. It's going to be so fucking exciting. I don't know how it's going to go.
Because it's like...
If we give them, even on, jiu-jitsu, we'll just say, they're fairly even. Because we really don't... We have no idea, right? No one's really going to be doing for takedowns, I don't think. And if it is, it's going to be Ortega, and we already said he doesn't really have good takedowns. Striking, very different in that aspect. There's one thing that I can probably give Brian Ortega over Diego. It's probably going to be cardio.
Yeah, I would... 3 rounds, Diego being prepared for it, I'm not gonna... I don't think that, that's gonna really be a problem. But it's, sure, that is definitely way more tested with Ortega, and, he has that for sure. And it's just, even the experience, just, at the highest level, fighting all of these top guys, it's,
No, yeah.
Even losing so many of these fights, you're gonna learn so much and just have all of these tricks to deal with things. And it's if Diego just gets too overconfident and just running forward too much, trying to land stuff, it's bro, that spinning back elbow that he countered Korean Zombie with was absolutely nasty. Korean Zombie said that he didn't he was gone the rest of the fight, he didn't remember anything, was autopilot, just goodbye. That's
no, yeah,
that was in the second round. So yeah, man, I am so excited because it's I know you don't think that they're really going to be going for takedowns much. I wouldn't be surprised if even Ortega shooting on a bad takedown, whatever, if Diego's kind of all right, let me try and reverse it with something, and they just get into a wild grappling exchange real quick. One sub attempt would one way, the one goes the other way, they scramble back up, and now it's back to slugging it out. This fight can go so many ways, and I'm so excited.
I do see what you're saying with that, and it is one of those things with this fight where it literally can go. It can go to left field, right field, it could go anywhere.
Fight of the night.
Like you said, there could be a point where we just get that one hit knockout from Diego. Hell, Ortega, even though he doesn't have the power like that, he has knockouts. He did knock out Frankie Edgar. He can generate that power. If he needs to sometimes. So it's he hits that spinning elbow, all of a sudden Diego gets hurt, he just wraps up a guillotine or so, or Darce, like, it could be over for him. Like, that is the most interesting part about the whole thing.
Yeah. But yeah, if this goes all three, then I think it's definitely fight of the night.
Yeah.
And then do you think probably the most impressive thing for like either one like to get done would be to submit the other one? Like, do you think that
100%?
100%.
Oh, let's go. Yeah, like you said, I really hope that Diego Lopes wins this one. He's just a beast, man. It's like Ortega, I used to be just such a big fan of him, and like he still is fun to watch. He still does put on great fights. It's just the inactivity and just certain things where it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like, just like there's just the newer guys up and coming that I'm just more excited for. It's like Diego's gonna fight 20 times a year if you let him, and he keeps fucking people up. You know what I mean? Like, let's go.
And just to go back like to what you just asked, it's like, do you know how much of a feather in the cap it is for you to be the one to finally submit Brian Ortega in the UFC? Yeah. That is such a huge feather in the cap for him that if he got it, like, I'm looking at like, he's potentially next for a title shot. Like,
oh, for sure. You fucking, you be the first person to knock out Sadiq Youssef. You beat Dan Ige in a decision on 4 hours notice, 20 pounds.
And then you beat number 3 Brian Ortega.
Yeah, and the first one to sub him, like, bro, like it.
That's still insane. He's still top 3 with all the inactivity.
Let's go. But yeah, that is gonna be a great fight. I'm super excited. If that doesn't go long to end up being fight of the night, this next one, it's another one of those fights where if it does go long, it could end up being fight of the night because Daniel Zellhuber, Esteban Ribovic, 15-1 versus 13-1. This is clearly going to be the spotlight for Zellhuber to like get a big win, you know, Noche UFC.
No,
But bro, this is not an easy fight for him. I'm honestly not sure who's winning this one.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Insane. It's like, bro. The last, like, because Zellhuber 3-1 in the UFC. Last 3 are Francisco Prado, Christos, Orlando Venata. His debut was a loss against Trey Ogden.
Yeah.
Espen is 2-1. Terrence McKinney, Kamala Kirk. His UFC debut was his one loss against Loki, Radzabov.
Yeah. Loic Radzabov.
Loic,
Yeah, man, I feel like obviously the biggest factor is going to be the size because I was like, I'm pretty sure Daniel Zellhuber is like a lot bigger. And then, 6'1" to 5'10", 77-inch reach to 69-inch reach.
Yeah. Damn, I didn't realize the reach was that off. I forgot Zellhuber.
That reach is huge.
Yeah, bro. So 3 inches taller, 8-inch reach advantage. You got 2 finishers in here. Daniel Zellhuber will go to a decision a little bit more. But, man, this is going to be such a good fight. I am so excited for this one.
Yeah.
Probably going to lean slightly towards Zellhuber, but...
I think so, but like you said...
I could see this fight going either way. Like
Definitely going to be a good one, though.
Yeah.
Last one on the pay-per-view portion. 125 pounds. Ronaldo Rodriguez taking on Ode Osborne. It's just like, this is just clearly like, all right, you know, Ronaldo, Mexican fighter, 125 pounds, 16-2, trying to give him a good spotlight to get a good win and just hype him up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, just other than that, I don't know. It's like, 25 years old. He's had 1 win in the UFC, so it's just really hard. You know what I mean? Like, there's just nothing really that it's like, all right, UFC's pushing. Well, let's see what you do. You know what I mean?
No, because Ode 4-5 in the UFC, so
definitely not the most interested in that one. But the prelims, we only got 5 fights on the prelims because it is a 10-fight card. But goddamn, there's some pretty good prelim fights for this.
These are gonna deliver, I think.
Yes,
all of them are worth talking about and touching for sure. First one, prelim headliner, Irene Aldana taking on Norma Dumont. My 2 girls at 135 pounds. God damn it. Why?
Irene's probably going to win this.
Because fuck you, Jimmy. That's why.
Yeah, I know. All right, fuck you too. All right, you're losing the draft. We'll get there.
Look. I'm just speaking for Dana White, okay? Like that's what he told me to tell you, okay?
I approve that message. I don't really know if it's so easy of a win for Renee Donna.
I don't think it's easy. I just think she's going to.
I can understand the reasoning behind it to an extent.
Starting to get a little bit older. 36 years old now.
Is Norma just gonna grapple her to a decision?
Yeah, that's what
I was about to say. Like I feel like Norma might just like wrestle fuck her to a decision. I just thought about it
for real.
Yeah,
man.
I really don't know. Like if this is.
Yeah, Irani's gonna lose this, huh?
I'm not. I'm not.
It's not gonna be as fun as I want it to be, huh?
It's like this is definitely going to be a tough test for Norma on the feet for sure.
Yes.
It's like her last loss being to Macy Chiasson 2 years ago, over 2 years ago at this point. It's like she beat GDR in her last fight, but it's like clearly GDR is the most
returning GDR.
Yeah, and I was gonna say like that's the best striker on her resume for sure. But it's like old as shit, and she's been out of the game for so long. It's like she's gonna if she had a couple fights back, at least being older, it's like that would be more credible,
But after a 4-year layoff at 40 years old, it's just not impressive.
Yeah,
I'm really not sure. Because I do not think Norma has the striking to be able to deal with Irene. It's like she's going to be aggressive. She's going to push forward with, like, combinations. But Irene is going to fucking counter-strike the shit out of her, no problem. I feel like that's not... Like, I feel like Norma's really just got to try and, like, pressure her back to the cage where, like, she's just uncomfortable and then just takedowns in, or just hold her up on the cage. Like, Yeah. I'm not sure. But let's hope Irene Aldana gets it done. And hey, if anything, maybe she gets taken down, up kick to the liver. She's done it once before, she might do it again.
If she did that twice, that would go crazy.
That would be pretty legendary.
I'm not gonna lie, like I might be like, okay, maybe she do be practicing that in the gym. Like, what the fuck?
But yeah, I do think that it should be a pretty solid fight, though. Definitely excited to see who comes out on top.
Yes.
This next one is fun, too.
Yeah, oh my god, 155 pounds, man. You can't go wrong, especially in the UFC. Manuel Torres, Ignacio Bahamondes. How you guys feeling about this one?
Bro, this is going to be so much fun. It's another one where Ignacio...
the contender.
Like, Ignacio goes to decision slightly more, and by that he has... It's because he loses the decision, so that he has overall 7 decisions on his record, He has 4 wins, 3 losses, whatever. But, like... They are both finishers. A whole lot of knockouts, whole lot of subs. Ignacio, again, just another big motherfucker at 155, being 6'3". He doesn't have the biggest reach advantage like in the last one, but it's still like 3.5 inches, like 75.5 to 70. Oh, to 73. Okay, so 2.5. But
yeah,
I don't know. This is gonna be so much fun. This is gonna be real good.
It's like just real quick for like, there's so much hate on all these Dagestani fighters, all these Russian fighters in MMA. All that, they're ruining it. Why not the hate on all these 155 and 170ers that are just cheating out here with their freakishly long arms? Like, there's too many of them now. Like, every month I feel like we're getting more.
We desperately need 170 to move up to 175 and get a 165-pound division in here. So we get a bunch of these 6'3" motherfuckers against each other at 165, where they're going to be a bit healthier instead of down at 155.
Yeah.
You got Jalen Turner, you got fucking Ignacio, Joel Alvarez. Yeah. Like, you got a couple guys at 170 who could probably drop down, honestly, to that 165 who would actually benefit from it.
Yeah. No, yeah.
For sure. But I mean, either way, it's like we have Manuel Torres, who is 3-0 in the UFC. He's had 3 first-round finishes since being here, as well as first-round finish on Contender Series. And Ignacio, who is 4-2 in the UFC. He's back and forth, but he just puts on fun fights every time, so I'm sure this will be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ignacio definitely, just with having 3 more fights in the UFC, definitely has fought better competition throughout the UFC.
For sure.
So I think that will probably be like something to help him out a little bit. 27 years old for Ignacio, 29 for Manuel Torres, so both young as shit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and I mean, like, the 2 losses that exciting. Ignacio has, it's fucking Ludwig Klein and John McDessie. Like, those are not terrible losses to have.
No, not at all.
Yeah, bro, and that fucking spin kick over Roosevelt Roberts was just disgusting. Just yeah.
Jesus
both
Christ.
monsters. It's an incredible fight. I can't wait.
Hold up. Ain't no way.
What?
I didn't realize Ignacio's win before going to the Contender Series was Chris Brown, the one we just saw fight in PFL a couple months ago.
That's
incredible.
Awesome.
That's incredible.
Very nice. But yeah, that's
sorry, I was just looking
at
his record, and that was just insane. I was like, wait, no way, this is Chris Brown who just fought Thad. What was it, John or something? Gene?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Thad
Gene. Yeah, that's what it was.
I won't forget.
And it's just like, oh my god, that's insane.
But yeah. Next fight on the card, 115 pounds, strawweight division. Yasmin Yadagui taking on Ketlin Souza. This should also be a pretty good fight. Yasmin, she's a good fighter. Just very excited to see what she's able to do. Has the one loss in the UFC to Denise Gomes, which was that 20-second one-punch KO. It was a very sad one, but ended up getting a win over Sam Hughes after that, which is just one of those fighters where it's a very solid win. So, yeah, Ketlin Souza, 14-4 overall, 29 years old, 1-1 in the UFC, lost to Karine Silva, no shame in that.
I was up a weight class too.
Yeah, true. Yeah, didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably took that short notice, I would assume. And then yeah, unanimous decision win over Marnik Man in her last one. So just a good fight between up and coming fighters. Just should be solid, and winner just probably not top 15 yet. I mean, if Yasmin, a little bit closer to top 15 than if it's
yeah, for sure.
Ketlin, but yeah, we'll see how it goes for both of these fighters. Definitely should be a good one though. Like I don't think any of these fights are going to be bad. Where we're just like, come on, get to the next one. This next one, so many mixed feelings about, and actually not really mixed feelings. I just hate this. Edgar Chairez taking on Joshua Van.
Joshua Van coming in short notice after getting knocked out 2 months ago by Charles Johnson.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah,
it's like at least Chairez, he is more of a grappler. He is looking to get the subs most of the time.
It's just really funny because it's like I was saying before, where does Edgar lie as a UFC fighter? His UFC debut lost to Tatsuda Taira, I ranked in the top 5 of flyweight, and then he beat Daniel Losardo, who is 0-5 and won no contest in the UFC.
And how many times they booked that fight? It felt like they booked, let's see, no contest.
3 times.
Booked it. Oh, wow, only 3.
I know,
it felt
like they got booked like
5
times, you know what I mean? But yeah.
Felt like I kept getting announcement after announcement of these guys fighting.
Yeah, so it's like, to your point, I lost to a guy who's only won in the UFC and then being a guy who's only lost in the UFC. So it's like, I really don't know where the fuck you belong. He is very solid. I'm going to guess probably somewhere around 15 at least, you know what I mean? Like Edgar Chairez, like I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to like get to like around like top 15.
It's just with it being short notice with Joshua Van, I really hope he can get it done. I just don't know if he can.
Yeah, I know it's going to be very hard for him. It's like I don't know. Maybe he's going to go out there. He's going to be like, I'm fighting a grappler, so I don't got to worry about getting knocked out in this one, and I'm just going to rip body shots for days and left hook to the liver, second round TKO for Joshua Van.
That'd be awesome.
Let's hope. One could hope.
Yeah.
And then the last fight, the entire card opener, the first fight of the night, motherfucking Raul Rosas Jr. A little bit disrespectful throwing him on the first fight of the card.
I feel like no, because you could throw him on the pay-per-view, but it's one of those things where it's not like he gets paid for that or anything. It doesn't actually matter. But it's like, why not just like kick off the start of Noche UFC, which is like one of their bigger and youngest Mexican stars that they have.
Yeah, that's honestly a good point.
No, yeah.
Like if anything, I feel like that's kind of awesome for him. Just like like you are the start of the show,
No, yeah, that is fair. And with like Raul, he especially at this point, he doesn't need a pay-per-view bump from this card. You know what I mean? Like it. Yeah. That is very fair. Because it is going to start off amazing. Because motherfucking Raul Rosas Jr. taking on Arichi Lang, the Mongolian monster. And this is a tough test for him. It's going to be a hard fight.
Yeah.
It's like Arichi Lang, he's not the greatest fighter. Mongolian Murderer. Sorry, I said Monster, and I was like, I don't think that's right.
It wasn't, but I was gonna let it rock.
You shouldn't have let it rock. You should have corrected me right away. 3-3, 1-0 contest in the UFC. Mm-hmm. So it's like he's fought some pretty good fighters too. Ayman Zahabi, Cody Durden, Jeff Molina. Like got a win over Johnny Munoz Jr. Not too bad, but.
He has the no contest with Daniel Marcos due to the groin strike, but he was getting his ass whooped through that fight. He was easily on his way to a loss there, possibly a KO loss at that. But Daniel Marcos is very good and also older. I don't know.
It's just like, it's a good test. It's a tough fighter, but he does have 11 losses. He hasn't been finished the most out of them. 3 submission losses, 1 KO, TKO.
Yeah, even the first person to knock him out last year.
Yeah. It's just like I feel like even though Raul is so young in that this is like a tougher test for him just moving up in the division, I feel like he's just gonna go out there, take down, just put such a fucking like so much pressure on him, get a sub, and it's just
that's kind of what I was thinking, because that's what he was struggling the most with Daniel Marcos was he was just moving forward, putting it on him, and that's exactly what Raul's gonna do.
Yeah,
he's young and just gonna go out there, and Arishi Lang is more than likely gonna fold. Like
It's just one of those things where it's like, all right, Raul's doing really good. It's like, you still need to be building him up, but you don't need, because he's like quickly moving into like that range of like, he's starting to approach that like top 30 with who he's fighting now. It's like, maybe slow down a little bit, He is still, 19?
Yeah.
It's like, because now he's starting to get into that spot where it's going to be like, all right, is he fighting like Taylor Lapilus, Cody Stamen, people like that, and it's like, is that going to be too much of a step up?
It's like this is his 5th fight in the UFC, and so far I feel like they've been matchmaking him very correctly for how young he's been. I mean, for how young he is. He'll be 20 this year. I don't think that with that they're just going to immediately start throwing him into these harder fights. I think they're still going to kind of make a few more matches for him, you know what I mean? And at that point, he'll have the experience where it's like, he's young, but he's 6-1 in the UFC, something like that. It's like maybe he's ready, like he's actually gathered that experience. And I'm not talking about guys that like are losing records in the UFC, but like solid and not like the hardest, and then maybe build them up where it's like, give him that Taylor Lapilus, that Cody Stamen, whatever, But it's like if he's fighting one of those guys by like this time next year and has a few fights in between, like I feel like he's ready for it at that point.
No, I'm just saying like throwing him up there after this win. It might be a little too early.
No, and because they're probably just gonna give him like a few more like catering fights, you know what I mean, to just like help build him. But it's like, especially with this one, like goes out there, like just looks really good, gets a finish. It's like, I honestly feel like it's. Like, because like you said, this is his 5th fight now in the UFC. Goes out there, one more fight after this, like, against someone that he should probably beat, his 6th fight, like, 5-1. I feel like that honestly probably would be, like, about time to, give him a Cody Stamen. Someone who's older, but he's solid, got good grappling, been around, fought a lot of good guys. And because then it's like, now, like, end of this year, or, well, I mean, if he has one more fight, it'll probably be end of this year. But, like, beginning of next year, it's like, 20 years old, gets into a fight with Cody Stamen, and now he looks good there. Now it's like, you're still young as shit, but we could probably start to actually push you towards these upper guys,
Right.
And then if he loses, I don't think it's going to be a bad loss, and then we just go back to the original matchmaking.
I was going to say, how many guys we see in one championship that are young as hell and fighting up because they have that experience? So that's why I'm like, decide he gets a few more wins. It's like, he's ready to start fighting that, even though he will only be 20, 21 years old. Like,
yeah. And because that's the thing is, like, with him coming in so young, and like especially after the last one, just being like, like I want a hyped guy, or like a hype prospector, or like a top 15 guy next. It's like, bro, not like top 15, like not yet, you know what I mean? And so that's where it's like he beats Arishi Lang, beats someone else, beats Cody Stamen. It's like that's 3 more fights in good progression. It's like, now
I could see ready. Like him fighting a 15-14 at that point. I mean, shit, so I was just looking at, and Tapology's ranked like 1 spot above Cody Stamen, but Tapology be disrespectful at times. John Castaneda just fought 3 months ago. Depending on how this fight goes, their timelines will match up extremely well. And, that's just like someone else who's like up in that, just lost to Daniel Marcos. So
yeah,
that's another step up towards that, and then, you can give him like Lapis, Stamen, whoever, because they're all in that same range anyway. So
yeah.
And we just...
Yeah, it's like, give him fucking, like you said, I forgot the first... John Castaneda. Like, beats Arichi Lang. Let's say he beats him, then, get, like, Stamen, and, now, like, let me see him against Mario Bautista. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's see him against, like, he wouldn't be, like, rank 15 probably at the time, but, like, Chris Gutierrez. You know what I mean? Like, that's...
No, yeah, those guys. Montel Jackson.
You're at that level. Yeah. So, it's Raul.
I mean, Devon Blackshear is still someone he could potentially be up against next.
Yeah, something like that. Just another step up. You know what I mean? But, I feel like if he gets a win here, he's probably 2 wins away from getting matched with the top 15 opponent.
Yeah, I could see that.
But we'll see how all that goes. Definitely excited to see how Raul is able to get it done in this one, if he is able to, and see where that stardom goes. Like I said, 19 years old. He's got all the motherfucking time in the world. Like, it's crazy that we're probably going to see him in the UFC for like another 14 years. You know what I mean? Like,
it's insane. He has the potential, because of how young he is, to potentially start getting close to that. Most fights in the UFC, potentially most wins. That should definitely, if he keeps track, could get to that most wins in UFC type stuff.
Yeah, it all depends on
for how long he can potentially be in the UFC for, is all I'm saying. Like,
very true.
Because he has all that potential, being, coming in at 18, already having, this is what, fight number 5?
Yeah.
6?
5.
So,
no, yeah.
Like, 5 fights, like, yeah, he could definitely get up there.
Hell yeah. Let's go. Those are all of the fights from the Sphere for the UFC this weekend. So excited to see how it all plays out. Let's fucking go. There ain't nothing else to talk about for this episode of the podcast. I hope everyone enjoyed this one. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate everyone that does. Maybe drop a comment. Let us know how you feeling about this card. Maybe let us know afterwards how dog shit it was in your opinion, and you could say how stupid we were for hyping it up so much. I don't know. Say whatever you want. It helps out. We'll catch you on the review to this one. Peace out, everyone.